just be careful. And what I said to my client, if you get something that you're not 100% sure of, either send it to me, which she normally does, or send it to the CPA, or even contact your bank. Do something with someone you know that can verify it. If somebody says, oh, this transaction didn't go through, then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the place you charged it with, which is probably one of your credit cards, and you're going to follow up with them. Hi, I'm Annette Bau, host of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast and founder of the Millionaire Insider. My mission is to help you simplify the money game so you can create a financially secure and fulfilled life without having to have a PhD or spend countless hours on your finances. You're going to learn how to think like a millionaire, stop worrying about money and wondering if your financial house is truly in order, and instead spend your time doing what you love. With over 3 decades advising 7, 8, and even 9-figure millionaires, and now joining that elite group, I'm in a unique position to help you make the best financial choices so you can create a secure financial future and retirement you love. This is the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. You can access our free financial checkup at themillionaireinsider.com/FC. Let's face it, most people get medical checkups because they know how important they are, right? To making sure they're not going to have problems in the future. But most people don't realize that having a financial checkup is equally important. You can access our free financial checkup at themillionaireinsider.com/FC. Let's face it, securing your financial future requires that you have a plan and that you execute on it, and that you're doing the right thing. And this free financial checkup is going to make sure you're on track so you don't have some surprise like running out of money or wondering why you're so far behind on your goals. I encourage you to access it at themillionaireinsider.com/FC. All materials and intellectual property is copywritten by themillionaireseries.com. This information is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or to provide any investment, financial, tax, retirement, planning, or healthcare advice. By accessing this content, you agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved. For today's show notes, you can go to themillionaireInsider.com/79. We're going to dive into Taylor Swift ticket scams, phishing scams, and new job scams. So let's start with our favorite friend, Taylor Swift. I've never really been a major fan of hers, and I had 2 opportunities to go to her concerts, and I thought about it, and then I thought, I don't know, 3 hours? And I kind of just envisioned 3 hours of young, screaming children, right? I never really realized, like, the oldest client I'm aware of is like 85, and one study I found said 7 to 70. But I mean, she's got a huge span, and she's been doing this for 17 years. So all the people that grew up with her now are in their 30s and 40s. And most of them, their parents are a part of it too, because they've been to all the concerts. So now that I'm much more knowledgeable as far as the Swifties go, I feel like I'm a little more informed. But when I became fascinated with her was when I started reading about her business acumen, and everything she does, she's got a plan for. And I became fascinated. And then I started looking at these major experts saying she is more dialed into her niche market and her ideal client than most major corporations. So I became fascinated, and my husband and I went and saw her movie. I started reading about it, and I just became more and more interested. Just so happened that on Facebook, one of my friends had bought tickets. She couldn't go, and she just wanted to sell them for what she'd paid for them. So it was a few $1,000s. And I thought, okay, it was cheaper than I would have paid if I would have just bought them online. I went and I looked. I didn't know the woman really well, but I looked. She had a ton of other friends, and so I felt comfortable. Well, it was interesting. I was just about ready to buy them. And then somebody else popped up on the feed, and they said, I have tickets too. And their tickets were like substantially cheaper. Got in a conversation with them. And what I thought was interesting about both of them, they both asked if we had a Ticketmaster account. And they're like, okay, we got to get that number so we can transfer the tickets. I just think that's, looking back on it, I thought that's interesting. The second one that was a lot cheaper, I started looking at his feed, and he had, a few hundred friends, but it just seemed a little bit shady. I, asked how they wanted me to pay them, and both of them wanted Zelle or Venmo. And I said, well, I'm not comfortable sending it that way. What about PayPal? I want protection, just like you do. The first one started having all these excuses and got kind of aggressive. And so I said, I'm not interested. It became obvious that he didn't really have the tickets. The numbers changed. I mean, they're just a few things. And so When I said PayPal to the other woman, she's like, oh, absolutely. She said, I said, I just want to be covered on my end, just like you want to be covered. She said, well, how about you transfer me half and then I'll give you both tickets and then you can pay the balance. So I said, okay, let me check. So I contacted PayPal and they said, if you pay in family and friends and they don't deliver the tickets, there is nothing you can do. You've got to do it through products and services if you want any recourse. Again, she tried to get me to transfer half the money and then she would transfer both tickets. But I said, I'm not comfortable with that. She said, well, she couldn't accept products and services. So I'm assuming products and services, you either have to have your tax ID number or you have to go through some other verification. Family and friends is just kind of like a Zelle. It's like one and done. And they get the money and that's it. I said, I just wasn't comfortable with that. And she said, well, let me go check. So she went and came back and said, okay, she had found another friend of hers that I could send the money through and do it that way. So I said, okay, that's great. I sent the money. What was so weird is she came back and she's like, well, wait a minute. You sent it on products and services. I'm like, yeah, that's read the text. And so I sent her the text. We went over and she goes, oh, no. I have to have it in family and friends. And I said, I can't do that because I have no recourse. She said, well, then go ask for a refund from PayPal. And I'm like, wait a minute, we went over this. We just got to circling back around. What I thought was really interesting is I said, I think this is like fraud. I think I'm going to report this to Facebook. Well, she immediately unfriended me. And I thought that was really weird. I had to file a claim with PayPal and it took me about 10 days, but I got my refund. Now, what was really interesting, I think, about the whole issue on both of these is that both of them said the exact same thing. Now, this woman seemed legitimate. Like if you look at her profile, she was out with friends. I don't know how we were friends because I have a lot of people I don't even know. But I mean, we had mutual friends. So it was just odd. But the point being is if you're going to buy anything, you've got to have recourse. And if you do it through PayPal, you want to do it where it is products and services, not family and friends. Because had I done family and friends and given any money, I would have been out it. That's something that is happening a lot now. Another one are phishing scams. And this is a type of online scam that they target consumers by sending some type of email or message, like a text or an email, where they're trying to get information. And a lot of times it'll come from reputable sources. And it might even be your bank or a mortgage company. They're going to ask you to provide confidential information. And this is where you have to be paying attention because a lot of them seem legitimate. And the problem is they're not. What they'll do sometimes is they will say they have to have your information to verify a transaction, or they'll say something didn't go through. They'll give you a link that you have to go in and put information or you have to verify something. And almost always what they're trying to get from you is some type of personal information. And a lot of times they'll get a little bit and then they'll say, okay, this looks good. I just need you to verify your social security number. No company is going to ask you to put on a form your social security number unless it's like a legitimate transaction. And typically that is where you've gone to a secure link. You know the place. And even then, it's unlikely. I mean, maybe your bank, maybe a mortgage company, but not some company that's just out there willy-nilly or something you're not familiar with. And most financial institutions are going to do it through their secure link if they do ask you for information. And a lot of them won't even take that information over the internet. So again, you got to be aware of it. But anyway, one of my clients got notified that one of her purchases hadn't gone through and she had made several purchases. So she thought it was one that she had made. So she filled out the form. Then they said, okay, fine. We've got to get a little more information from you. Well, she completed a little more information. And the next thing she knew, somebody was calling her and saying, okay, great. We got your information. They verified it. And they said, all right. They said the transaction will not go through. So if you don't want us to cancel it, then you've got to give us gift cards. Now that should have been a first clue, right? She's like, I don't know how I could have been so dumb, but I think it was like they caught her so off guard. She had just made purchases. And so she was just thinking it was verifying that. Well, fortunately, she got out for just a little over $1,000, not a ton of money, but basically got scammed out of what she paid on the gift cards. Now, I just want you to think for 1 minute, what company is going to accept a gift card in lieu of money? The only people that are going to do that are scamsters. So be aware of it. I get a ton of text messages and email messages saying, did you purchase an Apple computer? So it must be a lot of people are purchasing Apple computers or an iPhone. If you did not authorize this, click this link. Well, it's just completely a scam. Now, fortunately, I don't fall for it, but I guarantee you there are a lot of people that are going, oh my gosh, I just bought something and Apple computers are going to be popular. iPhones are going to be popular. Things that are popular, they know. So you got to be really aware of that. Another one that's happening right now are fake job postings. These ones are really prevalent on places like LinkedIn and throughout the internet. So somebody is posting as having a job. You think you're going in there and putting in information to actually get hired. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to get all your information so then they can scam you. You just got to be so careful putting a social security number, putting your birth date, anything that you are not completely 100% positive is secure and that you know where it's going. Because all they're going to do is get your social security number, your date of birth, your mailing address, all your information, and then use it for no good. Meaning a lot of them will go and try to open up accounts. They will go in and try to access your account, a lot of things. So you've got to be so careful. A lot of them, they say, involve Bitcoin and ATMs and all these different things that should be red flags. Some of them are even posting on Craigslist and eBay. And so it's happening a lot. Somewhat tied to these are the scams that are going on with gift cards. On the holidays, we have a big family event and we do these games where you get different gifts if you win. Last year, we're playing this game and I'm not sure how, but I won it. Then you go around a circle and everyone gets to decide what gift they want. And then if you want somebody else's, you get to take it. Well, I wanted the gift cards, the Amazon gift cards. So I got $100 in Amazon gift cards and I was so happy. And so my husband goes to use them. They don't work. We had got them for my niece. Well, what we found out happens is if you go and buy an Amazon gift card at, say, a CVS or any type of drugstore or a grocery store, what the thieves are doing is they go into the store, they take the gift card, they leave, they take the number, go and use it, and then they go and put that gift card back and take a different one. So basically what they're doing is they're using it. And then when you get your card, it's already been used. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous that there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, some of these stores and drugstores need to be doing something with it. But the bottom line is you should not be buying your Amazon gift cards or any gift cards for different major companies through a drugstore or a grocery store where it's just open case, because that's happening all the time. In fact, in our local neighborhood app, which my husband is a member, he says he sees those all the time. And we live in a very affluent area. So it's just happening all over. But again, it's just one of those things where you have to find these things out, be careful, and then make sure that it doesn't happen in the future. Now, I didn't follow up because I hadn't originally bought those, but I thought, I can't believe that somebody that's buying those from a legitimate place, like say a drugstore, that gets scammed, that the drugstore would not have any liability. But all I know, it's happening a lot, and I don't think right now they're doing anything about it. What I encourage you to do is just be careful. And what I said to my client is, if you get something that you're not 100% sure of, either send it to me, which she normally does, or send it to the CPA, or even contact your bank. Do something with someone you know that can verify it. If somebody says, oh, this transaction didn't go through, then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the place you charged it with, which is probably one of your credit cards, and you're going to follow up with them and say, is it true that this transaction didn't go through? And you're going to get it from a legitimate source versus somebody that you don't even know who's just trying to scam you. So I hope you enjoyed this. So let's just recap. Anytime you're buying tickets or you're buying anything from someone you don't know, do it through a means that you have recourse. If you're doing it through PayPal, it's through products and services, not family and friends. If you do it through Zelle or Venmo, you're just asking for trouble. Phishing scams are so popular. They're trying to get a little bit of information from you. They want to establish rapport, and then they're going to scam you. So do not give your information to anyone, and be so careful whenever you get something saying, did you purchase this or what about that? Boy, run. and then fake job postings. Whether the goal is for them to try to sell you something or to try to get your information through a job posting, you got to be careful who you share your information with. And what I really encourage you to do is a lot of times there's a phone number to call. You can call, the minute you call, you can tell if it's a scam. Like they don't sound official. And if they do, because as I share with you, the scam that I almost fell into was a Zelle one where the number came in through my bank. And it was very real. And I get calls all the time from my bank because I'm a premier customer and they're always trying to find out more information about me and how they can get more of my business. And so it wasn't anything out of the norm. The only thing that was odd was them asking me if I had made 2 Zelle transfers. And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, 2 went through. And so that was where they said, well, which account? And it's like, which account? And I knew right then that seemed odd because I have like 14 accounts with them. So it was like, okay, they didn't know I had a bunch of accounts. They seemed shocked. And there were just a few things. And then when they gave me an email, it wasn't my bank email, it was Outlook. So it was just kind of like, I go, let me get my personal banker on. And once I did that, they were gone. But again, you just got to be careful. And, I think you're on with a scam or something like that. You're like, hold on, I'm going to call my financial advisor. Hold on, I'm going to call my attorney. Hold on, I'm going to call my CPA. You'll see how quickly they're going to drop that line. So just be aware, my friends, and caution on the conservative side. If you have a transaction that doesn't go through, it's not the end of the world. You can have time. You can follow up with the organization, get it paid, and the people that are supposed to get the gift will get the gift. Again, I want to remind you to access our free financial checkup. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/FC. Having a financial checkup is as important as having a medical checkup. We've got to have our health and we've got to make sure we're on track with our money. If we don't want to worry about running out of money or actually running out of money or having financial problems now or in the future, this checkup is going to help you to look at where you are and more importantly, what you need to do. So again, themillionaireinsider.com/FC. So there you have it. So if you learn one thing, it's caution on the conservative side. Don't be in a rush to pay something. Take the time to contact your financial institution. Make sure it's legit before you do anything. If you love the content of this podcast, please follow and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of episodes, and also give us a 5-star review and share a comment. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on taking another step to create a financially free life you love. If you're not sure about your financial future or that it's in order, or you are ready to stop worrying about money or possibly the fear of becoming a bag lady, ending up broke in retirement, or you simply are ready to know your financial house is in order so that you can have a bright financial future, please go to themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. And that doesn't stand for non-sufficient funds. It stands for next step finance. It's the next best step of what you need to do so you can avoid an NSF notice in your future. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. The number of women who were not broke or poor while working or married is staggering. The entire mission of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast is to ensure you have the information for you, your family, your friends, anyone who's willing to listen to it and apply it so that you can create a financially free life you love. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. Until our next episode, take one action that will help you create a financially free life you love. I'm Annette Ba'u, your host. All international copyrights are reserved. Bye for now.